Hey there, welcome to the Millennial Book Junkie. My name is Monique, and today I'm going to be doing the Mid-Year Book Freakout Tag. This is a tag that a lot of people do in the middle of the year to share all their best books that they've read so far, all the worst, books that made them cry, books that surprised them, books that disappointed them. Let's get into it. The first question in this tag is, what is the best book that you've read so far in 2025? And it took a while for me to narrow this down. I listed about 6 or 7 books that could have technically been the best book that I read all year. And then I had to narrow it down from there, which was really, really hard. And in the end, I was only able to narrow it down to 3 books because I couldn't narrow it down further. But in looking in these 3 books, I think there is a clear winner. So I'm gonna share with you the 3 books, starting with the clear winner, just to get that out of the way. I would say the best book that I read so far in 2025 is Long Bright River by Liz Woods. Liz Woods was really popular last year for her novel God of the Woods, which was really, really good. Long Bright River is actually the novel that came out before God of the Woods, and I read this after God of the Woods because I loved God of the Woods so much, and I really, really loved it. I loved it to the point where I felt so strongly for the characters. I cried. I felt like the twist in this book was really, really unexpected, did not see it coming, and it also just made me feel so bad for the characters. This book follows 2 sisters, one of whom is a cop, the other is unfortunately living on the street. One day, the younger sister who's living on the street, she goes missing, and the older sister, the cop, is basically trying to find her. I mean, that's what this is about in a nutshell. And all the twists and turns along the way are just so captivating. Like, you don't know where the story is going to go, but it's like also kind of a mystery. Like, the sister is missing. Where did she go? There's also a string of murders happening on the street as well. So you've got that mystery element, that woman missing crime novel kind of element, and you're just kind of wondering what happened to the sister and will the older sister save her? The older sister has a lot of issues of her own. She's dealing with family drama. She has a little boy that she has to protect. And I feel like Liz Woods just did a really, really good job with the characters. I felt like I knew them personally. I felt like she did a really good job with backstory and really fleshing out the 2 sisters and the family surrounding the sisters and all the people in the sisters' lives and what they were going through. And then, of course, the sisterly dynamic. And I have a younger sister, so this hit really, really deep with me. I know what it's like to love that little sister so much and always want to make sure that she's taken care of and that she has everything that she needs. And that is kind of how this big sister was. And I related to that so much. I just loved this book, and I think this is the clear winner for me for 2025. The other 2 books, which were so close for runners up, and I couldn't decide which book to choose, and they were Promise Not to Tell by Jennifer McMahon. This one is one of Jennifer McMahon's first novels. Probably was her debut novel. It came out a very long time ago. She's a really, really popular author now. And this book was about this young girl that was killed in Vermont. And years later, one of the friends of that little girl returns home to her home in Vermont, and another little girl is killed the same way that the little girl was, like, back years and years ago. And so this woman who returns home to Vermont is trying to figure out how this new little girl was killed and who killed her, and why this little girl was killed the same way that her friend was back when she was younger. And what I really, really loved about this book was that it had that, like, haunted vibe that I also love about God of the Woods, where, like, you don't know what's going on. Something creepy something dark is going on behind the scenes, but it also has really, really developed characters. So you feel just so immersed in the book and you feel badly for them. I feel like both Liz Woods and Jennifer McMahon do that in their books. They make it scary enough, but also they build the characters enough to where, like, you really feel immersed in the book. You feel like it's a really good book. You feel like it's a movie that you're watching in the book. So that's what I really, really loved about this one. This was another one that I think made me cry a little bit, but I just felt so deeply for the characters and they stuck with me. And so this was another one that I just really, really loved this year, that really was kind of like my top tier book this year. And the final runner-up is Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter. I just read this one, so everything is really fresh for me. It was my very first Karen Slaughter. I absolutely loved it. It tells the story of two sisters that are trying to figure out what happened to their missing sister. And again, really, really great character development, really dark characters. There are some scenes that are pretty hard to read torture-wise, but I think when you combine the missing person element with a little bit of darkness and crime, and then also really build out the characters, that is something that I can really get behind. And actually, I think that's probably the theme of like all these three novels. If you think about it, like there are, in all these three novels, like women are going missing or killed, and there are women trying to figure out what happened to them. And the character development is so rich. So I think that's something that I really, really like in thriller novels, and that is the reason why these three were my favorite in 2025. The next question in this tag is, what is the best sequel that you've read all year? And unfortunately, I haven't read any sequels. This year has been all about the standalones. A lot of thrillers have sequels, but I have not read any of them. I think a couple of sequels that I plan on reading this year are the sequel to The Housemaid by Frida McFadden and the sequel to Clown in a Cornfield. So I read both of those books, Housemaid and Clown in a Cornfield, this year, and I probably, if I were gonna read a sequel this year, it'd probably be one of those. So that's something I plan to get around to, but right now I'm just kind of obsessed with reading a lot of standalone books. I'm not sure why. I just haven't really felt like reading any sequels or going deep into certain characters or anything like that. So I don't know. We'll see what happens the rest of the year. The next question is, what is a new release that you have not read yet, but that you want to read? And for me, that's a no-brainer. Clémence Michelin's Our Last Resort just came out, and I need to get my hands on it. She's the one that wrote The Quiet Tenant, which I absolutely love. It was her debut novel, and now this is her second novel coming out, and I am really, really excited to read it. I have been looking forward to it since the beginning of the year. She posted on Instagram some clips of her sharing about how her book was coming out and the process of getting it published and finished, and I am just like, girl, I am ready to get my hands on that one. Our Last Resort follows two siblings, Frida and Gabriel, who are reuniting at a resort in a deserted area in Utah. They kind of have a complicated past. They used to be in a cult when they were younger, and so they're reuniting at this resort in Utah. When they're there, a woman gets killed, and suddenly the blame is all on Frida's brother, Gabriel, and she's getting flashbacks of when they were younger. All I know is it sounds really, really good, and I feel like Clémence Michelin is gonna do it really, really well. This reminds me of another book called Just Like Mother, where like these two girls were in a cult when they were younger, but they escaped and then they reunite and then all weird stuff starts happening. That's exactly the premise for Our Last Resort. And so I really liked Just Like Mother, so I'm really excited for Our Last Resort. The next question is, what is your most anticipated release for the rest of the year? My most anticipated release is Gone Before Goodbye by Reese Witherspoon and Harlan Coben. I am so excited for Reese Witherspoon to have her first book published. She's been in the book world for so long now, and I just can't wait to see what she does with this book. This book follows an Army combat surgeon who, after a series of tragedies, actually loses her medical license. And then she gets invited to this very elite cosmetic surgery clinic that like only serves like super rich people and does like really extreme things. And she gets called there to help this man who's like the most mysterious man in the world. And that's like somehow like her only way out right now since she loses everything. So she goes to this very, you know, lush cosmetic surgery clinic, and she goes to help this man, and he disappears. And then suddenly she either is going to become like a fugitive or she's going to disappear as well. So I don't know. It sounds really interesting. It sounds very thrilling. It sounds very suspenseful. I can't wait to see what her and Harlan Coben have put together. So that's what I'm looking forward to. I think it comes out in October. So we'll see. The next question is, what is your biggest disappointment of 2025? Hex. I was so excited for this book. This book is about a witch that takes over an entire town, like puts this curse on an entire town. She's bound by chains. Her lips are sealed. I think her eyes are covered too. But like she has bound this entire town so that if they leave, they will die. But if they stay there, they can live forever. But, you know, or as long as they're supposed to. But if they leave, they will die. So they're basically cursed to stay in this town forever. And the premise sounded so good, so original. I mean, obviously kind of sounds like WandaVision a little bit, but I was really, really excited for this. and I was really let down. Just not that the book was bad, it was just not for me. Like, it was too, I didn't really like the writing, and I feel like the violence towards people and pets, I just couldn't deal with it. So it wasn't for me. But I really was looking forward to it. So I was really sad that I was disappointed by it. But every time I see it, I just shake my head because I wished it was better. But I really, really like the story behind it. It just wasn't for me. The next question is, what was your biggest surprise this year? And for me, it was The Arrangement by Kirsten Modglin. I was so surprised by this book. I heard so many mixed reviews about this book, and I randomly picked it off my shelf last month, and I had such a good time with it. It was very twisty, and it was just fun. I don't know that it took itself like super seriously, but actually the writing was pretty decent. So I was surprised by how much I liked it. It was about this couple who decides to set up this arrangement where once a week they each go out on a date with someone else, and then they come back and it's like that's their 1 week to like go and have a little fling with someone else. But then after that, everything has to be normal. Well, things go wrong and there's a dead body, and of course things just spiral out of control, and then you learn a little bit more about the characters and what was really going on behind the scenes. And I really liked it. Had a really good time with this one. It was fun. I would definitely read another Kirsten Modglin book. This one is actually part of a series, so maybe I will pick up the sequel. This is another one where I'm like, okay, I forgot this one is a sequel too. So maybe I should pick this one up too. We'll see. The next question is, who is your favorite new author? I would say it's a toss-up between 3 different authors, but I'm going to share 3 different authors who are now rapidly becoming my favorite, who I will read more by. The first one, of course, is Liz Moore. I read both Long Bright River and God of the Woods this year, or actually God of the Woods last year. Regardless, I really love her. She is rapidly becoming one of my favorite new authors. Also, I really, really loved Steve Kavanaugh's Kill for Me, Kill for You. I will definitely be reading more by Steve Kavanaugh. I think he's probably one of my favorite new authors, and I can't wait to get my hands on more of his books. Another favorite new author would definitely have to be Carter Wilson. I really, really enjoyed Tell Me What You Did. I feel like I'm gonna have to read a ton more of his books just because this one was so delicious. I need more. I just need more. The next question is, who is your newest fictional crush? I would have to say, hands down, it would have to be Sam from One True Loves. One True Loves is the second book that I read by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and in it, there is a character who is in a love triangle with 2 other men. And one of them is kind of like one she grew up with, someone who she's known since she was younger. The other one also she knew when she was younger, but she didn't start dating him. She was just like friends with him. So one of them she actually married, and then something happened to him. So then she goes and gets together with Sam, who is the one that she grew up with, but she never dated. But they start dating when they're older, and I just love everything about his character. He's caring, he's smart, he helps her with everything she's going through after, the marriage that, well, you'll have to read the book. But Sam is definitely one of these characters who's very wholesome. And in the book, One True Loves, he just reminds me of me, something that I would do. He likes to go for walks. He likes to play music. He just likes to live in a small town and love his wife. And I just absolutely love that. So I don't read too many novels where I have fictional crushes, just because my novels revolve around usually men doing horrible things to women. So this one is one of them though, because I love the way Taylor Jenkins Reid described Sam, and he is the one that stands out to me as a fictional crush for sure. The next question is, who is your newest favorite character? And that would have to be Nancy Wake in Codename Helene. This book, Codename Helene, is based on an actual woman named Nancy Wake, who was an Australian expat in Paris, France in World War II. This book follows her life. And in this book, we learn about Nancy's journey when she was in Paris, France, when the Nazis invaded France, and everything that she did during that time. She helped get people smuggled across the border. She helped people get papers. And then eventually she graduated with working with special operations in Britain and using all these code names to help bring tools, supplies to the French resistance. And this woman did way more in her life than I will probably ever do. And she is so heroic and smart. She killed a Nazi with her bare hand, And she was actually leading groups and groups of men in a time when that just didn't happen. So I really, really loved this character. She was fierce, she was determined, she had to be so unafraid and courageous in so many situations in her life. And I just absolutely adore her. And I was so glad to have gotten to experience this book. She is definitely one of my favorite characters of this year that I constantly think about. So great job, Ariel Lawan, for writing this book about Nancy Wake, because she was a phenomenal woman. The next question is, what is a book that made you cry? I have two. Long Bright River is one of them, and then also That's Not My Name by Megan Lally. We know why Long Bright River made me cry, or do we? I don't know. I think the characters, there's so much going on with these characters. I just felt so badly for them. But this one, I mean, I think this one was a YA novel, and it was about a missing girl and the friends that were trying to find this missing girl. And for some reason, I just bawled at the end. I just felt so strongly for this missing girl and her friends who were trying to save her, trying to find her, trying to do things that even the police wasn't doing. And I just absolutely loved it. So at the end, I'm a sap. I was bawling. This is the most recent one that made me cry. Long Bright River definitely made me cry earlier this year, but this is the most recent one that I can think of. So yeah, I don't think these are supposed to make you cry, but they made me cry. The next question is, what is a book that made you happy this year? And that is without a doubt One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I'm telling you, I had such a great time with this book. It made me so happy. It's not a happy book per se, because it is about a girl who is in sort of this love triangle, and her husband, something really bad happens to him. And so then, it's not like necessarily a happy novel, but just the love that happens within this novel made me so happy. And I think a ton of people can relate, because Taylor Jenkins Reid knows how to write a love story. And this one just, it made me sigh in happiness. I really, really enjoyed it. So if you're looking for a little happy, this one isn't conventionally happy in the beginning and the middle, but it gets happy in the end. And that made me so happy reading it. So this is a good one. The next question is, what is your favorite book to film adaptation that you've seen this year? And I've seen nada. That was my favorite. I've seen two book to movie adaptations this year. One was a series, Long Bright River, which I did a series and book comparison video on. Also Clown in a Cornfield, which I also did a book to movie comparison. I wouldn't say, gosh, I probably liked the Long Bright River adaptation more than I liked Clown in a Cornfield. But I can't say that I had a favorite this year, but those were the two that I did see. So I would say out of those, Long Bright River. The next question is, what is the most beautiful book that you've bought this year? I don't have any. They're all beautiful, my books. Unfortunately, in the thriller world, I don't think they come that pretty. I mean, to me, they're gorgeous because they catch my eye, and I love a dark book. But yeah, I don't think there was one book over all the others that I thought was really, really pretty. So unfortunately, I don't have a good answer for this one. The next question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? All the ones in this quadrant. I don't think you can see them, but I'll read aloud a few of them. Harlan Coben's In the Woods, The Stillwater Girls by Mika Kent, The Hacienda, The Butcher and the Wren. Oh, The Butcher by Jennifer Hillier, The Invited by Jennifer McMahon, The Girl in Cabin 13 by AJ Rivers, The Spread by Ian Reid, and I think a few others. If you can see any of the books here, maybe I'll do a quick zoom in on them. And you can see those are the books that I really need to read before the end of the year, because I am not really allowing myself to do too much book shopping until I finish these. Not that I'm not going to buy another book until I read all these, but not going to do too much book shopping until I finish these bad boys here, because I really, really want to get through them. I think these are the only ones right now that I need to read, and then there might be a few others, but these are the really ones that I want to get through. So these are the ones I'm trying to get through before the end of the year. There might be a couple in the back, but yeah, those are some ones that I really need to power through on. And the final question is, what is your favorite video that you've made this year? I have to say it's a tie between two of them. One of them was a video I made on the day that I met Amy Tintera. That one was so fun because I love doing videos of events, of book events especially. I love editing them and making them look cool, and I also love meeting authors. So that was a really cool video that I really enjoyed making. And then another one is my 2-star thriller reading vlog. I loved that one. I love doing reading vlogs now, so I'm gonna do so many more now. I just loved it. So that was one that I just really enjoyed filming and editing this year. Okay, so that's it. That's my mid-year book freakout tag. Those were all the books that I loved, didn't love, surprised me, yada yada yada. I would love to see your mid-year freakout tag videos. So let me know where I can find yours, because I would love to watch them as well. I love watching these videos. They're my favorite in the middle of the year because I love seeing where everyone is at in their reading and adding new books to my TBR as always. So thank you so much for watching. And as always, if you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.